Company of Heroes 2 is a game with 5 distinct factions, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Today, we're going to focus on one specific OKW commander, and the opening tied to it. Yes, if you are a fan of the Panzer Fusilier, rejoice, as that is the opening I'll be focusing on in this video today. Now, for a little prerequisite history on the Panzer Fusilier itself, the Panzer Fusilier is a unit that is tied to Breakthrough Doctrine of the OKW. They are a 5-man squad, ideal for long range, and they are equipped with a G43 package that can be upgraded at a cost of 80 munitions. Quite expensive, but with their Vet 5 veterancy and their ability to get a 6-man when the upgrade is complete, they can prove to be decisive mid to even late game infantry units that can go toe to toe with some of the best of the allies. They have a great fragmentation grenade, a AT snare, and a flare that'll allow them to illuminate the area and maybe if in the late game allow your Jagdtiger to get some nice shots. Now the Panzer Fusilier does have its weaknesses. It is a very expensive unit, especially in the early game, so the loss of one will be crippling, and they are pretty terrible at close range. A shock troop will eat them quite easily, probably with only one fork, as 2 would be completely unnecessary. With these weaknesses said, they are still extremely powerful units, and here's how I would recommend opening with them. First off, you want to start with a Panzer Fusilier, then get another Panzer Fusilier, and then get a third Panzer Fusilier. Now, this will be the main backbone of your army and allow you to get the Med HQ and upgrades in the early game. Note this is essential as this build is more infantry focused. Right now you have 3 Panzer Fusiliers and a Sturm, and the ability to reinforce as well as heal those infantry units will allow you to either win or attrition the hell out of your enemy. The next thing you want to get is the Sturm Officer, but note that the Sturm Officer is trapped behind a 2 CP lock. If you are unable to get it, then I would recommend moving on to the next recommendations, which are the MG or the support gun. The MG for the OKW is a great suppression machine. Not really so good on damage, but it can suppress infantry like no other. This will allow your Panzer Fusiliers and, don't forget your Sturm, to quickly shred the enemy. If on the flip side, you're facing a lot more infantry support equipment, then I would recommend getting the LEIG or the sport gun. The sport gun, it can do a barrage and put down smoke, and just like in my previous OKW build recommendations, it is a great unit to have. But, I want to stress this, with the heavy manpower uses that you're going to have in this game, getting more than 1 or getting into 2 could put you at a serious manpower shortage. Regardless, now that you have your Sturm Officer, MG, or support gun, you want to get the AT gun, as this will be a great deterrent for early light game vehicles. Mostly you're going to be probably facing the American half-track, maybe a Soviet T-70, and with the early Panzer Fusilier snare that has, I believe, a greater range than the Volk, you'll be able to give the Raken the time it needs to make short work of enemy allied armor. Now with all of this out of the way, the next thing you want to do is get your Flak HQ and upgrade, so that way you can get your tank. Note you don't want to save up for the Jagdtiger. I understand it's very tempting, but recommend getting a Panther, get a Panzer IV. An early tank will prove much more valuable than just trying to save and wait for the Jagdtiger in the late game. The other thing I would also recommend is if you lose a Panzer Fusilier late in the game, I actually wouldn't recommend getting another one. The Panzer Fusilier might not seem like it, but with its heavy cost and the requirement for it to get upgraded to a higher veterancy for it to be really powerful against late game allied infantry, this is where I'd recommend getting an Obersoldaten over another Panzer Fusilier. While yes, the Panzer Fusilier works well with the Jagdtiger in the late game, it is a heavy resource commitment, and you might not have that if you're facing a lot of allied artillery like sextons, priests, katyushas, calliopes, you name it. The other thing I'd recommend is saving your munitions for this doctrine, specifically for the assault artillery. The assault artillery is immensely powerful and does an immense amount of damage in the area that you choose. You can do so anywhere on the map so long as you have recon. So as long as you keep that in mind and keep your munitions low, you'll have a very powerful infantry corps coupled with a very powerful late game tool with another asset that will blow massive holes through the enemy front line. One recommendation I would have for the assault artillery is placing it slightly behind the enemy front line if they are attacking you. This will force the enemy to either attack you and lose their units or die on the retreat. The option is theirs to make, but they'll be ending up at the same place no matter what they choose. So with all that said, that is my recommendation on how to open with the Panzer Fusiliers. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any commanders you want me to make an opening build order for, please let me know in the comments down below. Until then, I'm going to be trying to figure out how to open with the British. Until then, I'll see you all next time.
Hey guys, before you go, let me give a special shout out to Aphyria, Folkvard, Joey G240, Balam, Ace, Tony B, Ion, Little Koosh, Samuel McKinney, Seth Coopers, and Jacob Oswald. Thank you guys so much for your awesome support and generosity. If you guys want additional content, check out the links above. Otherwise, I'll see all of you next time.